So I recall pulling an all-nighter last night, and I fell asleep at around 1 p.m. after finishing my BHL Central assignment for tonight. Of which I got the grade for it yesterday for BHL Central in general of a 99.7 out of 100. Which significantly helped my grade for my intermediate Spanish 2 class. Today was our national security class, which was at 12:20 p.m. I was the week 1 assignment in the African politics class was reopened for me today in the minutes prior to the start of my national security class. And I'm currently working on that assignment. This is actually only one paragraph, only one example of how history is present, and that you need to understand history in order to understand current events, current circumstances, but at present I can't think of another example. So I've been working on question number 2, which asks me to explain why society does not require politics, but politics requires society. I tried to think of, for the second example, of how the ongoing protests in Myanmar can be explained through Myanmar's supposed history of uprisings, and maybe draw a mirror between the current uprising and previous unrest. But I'm not entirely sure if that's the right road to take, so to speak. Our national security class today was on intelligence. I got a phone call from my dad and stopped to quickly answer it. The gathering of intelligence, its uses, different vectors by which it's gathered. By that point in time, they ran out of coconut macarons, so they switched to chocolate macarons, but I wasn't informed of that until I asked for coconut macarons, or macaroons. I believe it's macaroons, actually, now at this point, because macaron sounds like a type of cookie, or more accurately, I think, pastry. That I got in either Greece or Italy at some point. I believe it's more likely to be Italy, or something along those lines. Actually, it was more likely to be in Greece. I remember when I had those macarons, the hotel room looked more like the hotel room that I had in Greece. I'm currently upgrading. I made an upgrade on this scrolls manufactory because I have quite a bit of population, and I'm only going to get more when I at last get another city expansion, either through province or through research. And I'm able to build the Wayfarthers Tavern. It'll most likely be through acquiring provinces. I've been told about how they have their Easter dinner on Sunday, which is the day I expect to be brought back to Brockport. After this week's sleepover, or trip at Dad's place. Dad will most likely pick me up tomorrow, since tomorrow has an in-person intermediate Spanish 2 class. I'm grateful in that I've been able to get every daily exclusive so far. I tried going to bed at around 7. Between 7:45 in the morning and 8 in the morning. But oddly enough, I wasn't able to fall asleep. When I first saw question 1 today, it looked pretty intimidating because there were 3 questions that requires 2 paragraphs, but I've been able to get halfway through the first question, and I'm halfway through the second question. I believe I can crank out the other half of question 2 within 15 to 30 minutes. I actually fell asleep at around 1 listening to the How to Get the Most Out of Studying video series by the YouTube channel Samford University, which is pretty much a part of my freshman year in college, since my freshman year was when I had that academic success class with Tina Kennedy. I did it through a playlist, though. I started the playlist at the second video, since that's where the actual series starts. How to get the most out of studying. Though, technically speaking, the full title of it is How to Study Long and Hard and Still Fail, or How to Get the Most Out of Studying. I imagine they shortened the title because that they weren't allowed that many characters for the titles of the individual YouTube videos. Or the playlist title, for that matter. I was consuming an energy drink in the minutes before I went to get dinner at 7, due to concerns that I would fall asleep and miss my second chance to do the week 1 assignment. I actually looked at my midterm grades for this semester as soon as my national security professor said that the midterm grades were available. I got an A in the national security class, an A- in the art class, and a B in the African politics class. And there was no grade available yet for the Spanish class. Although at this point I have turned everything in. At this point in time, there's no updates on my Spanish grade. Though it had gone from a 45% weighted average to a 65% weighted average, with plenty of grades still to be factored in, that are each roughly worth the same. The VHL Central is worth 15%, which is pretty good for me, considering how I tend to do VHL pretty well. Though I typically have fears that I'll go past the deadline on them and get that 3% a day penalty for it being late. I believe there's a possibility of me if I fail to get to the clock of the deadline of 11:30 p.m., which is when the week 1 assignment will close again. I believe I could take a screenshot of the week 1 assignment and then email my response to my professor, but I prefer to not have to do that, because if I have to resort to that, he might not accept it at all, and some points are better than no points in all cases. Excuse me. And I like to try to take every extra credit opportunity that gets brought up, since you could always unknowingly make some kind of critical error on an assignment. Today was the day I downloaded, or really, more realistically, opened a PDF tab of the memo instructions, as well as write down the frame for the memo, the policy memo. Luckily, that's not due for a while. I think the only thing I have due tonight is that week 1 assignment that I'm being given a second chance to do, which I'm quite grateful for. This is where I'm at currently in terms of the test sets. I spent a significant part of today on a task set that actually had 3 tasks, followed by a task set of just 1 task. And now I'm at this regular task set of just 2 tasks. And before I fell asleep today, I also did some work on the 99th Dan Hamming, primarily setting up that brief scene in which we see the RV that Kate tipped over. Though, for the most part, it's not likely that I'm going to do any more work on the 99th Dan Hamming tonight, since I need to focus on the week 1 assignment for now. When I initially tried to to fall asleep at around from 7 in the morning to 8 in the morning. I believe I got half an hour of sleep before waking up again. I tried to sleep to the Mega album, a collection of albums, Everywhere at the End of Time. Though I have in the past accidentally attributed it as Everything at the End of Time, but it's really Everywhere at the End of Time. Not everything, it's just an error I've made in the past. After my initial looking into it, I still haven't completely finished it, but I've listened to most of it. I think up to the end of the first track of Stage 6. After that half hour of sleep, I woke up to find this cord wrapped around my neck, loosely, but it was still a bit frightening. And just a little bit, though. I made sure to carefully unloop it. It was only wrapped once. I tried to fall asleep with these two blankets. The black and dark gray one, and this fleece blanket that I won from a Halloween costume party. That was at least a year ago, I would say. From around the last time I went trick-or-treating. Though obviously it wasn't on that night, just on a day around it. It was around the Halloween season.